Hello and welcome back to a brand new Player 2 review discussion. My name is Paul James and today I'm talking Gotham Knights with Matto Phillips. How are you, mate?
Yeah, great. I was just say, I was waiting for you to say hello, welcome to Patched, and
It's our shtick.
it's like a play to the second we've done of game reviews.
Yeah, our last one was all the way
Death's
back
Door.
in middle of last year, whatever it was, Death's Door. So the best game of 2021, without doubt. But although actually was it yours in the end?
It was.
I
It
thought
was my game of the year of 2021.
I can't remember. I thought something slipped in at the end, but anyway,
No,
clearly got that
nothing was
wrong.
gonna, nothing was
Nothing was
gonna
going to
beat
beat
that. Nothing.
Such a good game, which is everything that Gotham Knights isn't really.
So, or could have been, but didn't.
Yeah. So there's a lot of Gotham Knights content out there from me when it comes to Player 2 so far. There's the written review, which you can check out on player2.net.au. There's the single player Player 2 plays, which I put out there in time for the embargo. And then since then, you and I have done a co-op Player 2 plays as well. And we intend to do another one when the the 4-player multiplayer mode launches in a few weeks from now, with Sean and potentially some others as well. So there's a lot of Gotham Knights
We need
content.
a team. We need a team of four.
Yeah.
And then we gotta say who's got who. 'Cause I don't know if
Yeah,
you can just go. I'm not entirely sure you can just go for Batgirls, but
we'll make
not
it work.
sure.
We'll get maybe Jess on board as our fourth as well, because I know she's been mooching off my account lately to play a certain other big NDA title at the moment, God of War. She's playing that vibe, like mooching off
As
my
I say,
account at the moment to do
Sonic.
that, and it turns out that she was playing. Turns out that she was not only playing God of War, but she was seeing what else I had available on my account as well, and so. Yeah, she's enjoying Gotham Knights as well, or at least she's playing Gotham Knights as well. So let's talk about Gotham Knights anyway. This is not a spoiler cast, so we're not going to go too crazy about story spoilers or any of those sorts of things. But of course, Batman is dead is the kind of the main thrust of
That's not a spoiler. That's in the trailers.
It's all the
I'm pretty sure
marketing
it's in the
there,
trailers.
and it's shown
That
off in the
Batman's
first
dead.
10, 15 minutes as well. With what is admittedly a really really cool opening cutscene. I was a big
I would
fan of
say
what
it's
they did.
probably the best cutscene I've ever seen.
It's the best part of the game.
Because most cutscenes I'll watch, I was like, I just want to play the game now. I was really into this cutscene. It was like him punching, having fights and explosions and getting stabs. I just thought, this is the greatest thing. This is the greatest opening ever. I was like, I can't wait to play this game.
And then it all
And
starts
then
to go
the
south
game,
from
and
there.
then the game came, and then we started playing the game, and it didn't go too well then. Well, it
So-
didn't get off the ground. I should say it didn't get off the ground.
Yeah.
Well, because I couldn't figure out how to glide. Because it's really stupid. You have to figure out how to glide.
The knighthood quest, yeah, we'll get to those shortly.
Oh.
So I guess without us getting too spoilerish, the story kind of wraps around the four heroes. So Supergirl, Batgirl.
Supergirl.
We got my DC universes wrong. Batgirl, Red Hood, Robin, Nightwing. The four of them kind of get summoned in by Batman at the end of this battle against Ra's al Ghul, where they both die. And they're basically just kind of meant to pick up where he left off. They eventually learn that he was kind of, and again, this is all kind of linked into the marketing. The Court of Owls is kind of a big pillar of this thing.
Where's your badge?
Uh,
Did your badge on?
I'm not wearing it. I took it off because it's surprisingly heavy. It keeps sagging, but like
It's heavy. Heavy badge.
for a badge or a pin. Yeah, it's surprisingly heavy. It just kind of kept sagging on the shirt.
Oh, I was gonna say,
So-
could you just could you put the mask on one of your statues over there? But then their head might fall off. Oh no, he's still trying to figure it out.
Maybe the coat is a bit more heavy duty, so maybe it'll. Oh,
There we go.
It's just out of the shot. But anyway,
This
there you
looks like you're sponsoring Alienware. Doesn't even look like a Court of Owls.
go. I mean,
He's got the head. Look, see, it looks exactly the same.
yeah. So yeah, the Court of Owls, like Batman had been investigating them before his death, and they kind of used the opportunity of Batman now being off the scene to kind of up the ante on all all that they'd been doing. They'd been kind of lurking in the shadows for centuries, and now they've tried to step up to the plate and kind of take over Gotham. And then there's a little bit more that kind of plays out there involving other parties that we won't necessarily spoil. But what did you think of the overall plot anyway? Did you feel satisfied? Were you engaged by the Court of Owls side of things? What did you think?
I was not really engaged in it the whole time. I think it's just with the story itself, it's just stop, go, stop, go, stop, go. Because you finish an investigation or a case, because they're all cases, they're not chapters or whatever. You finish one, you go back to your silly tower,
The Belfry.
and then debrief. Then have to go do hunt some more Court of Owl stuff. And go. I don't know where you go half the time because you go to one place, and that's it. You don't go back there again. It's just sort of feels like what do you say? I don't know what you would call it. A level based
Yeah, it's a level based thing.
situation where I
There's no
don't
real
know because
encounters through the city in terms of like main story stuff. It's you're here,
no,
you enter this building, or you're here, you go down into this dungeon style thing. What here you're in this, whatever it happens to be. They are exactly as you say. They're levels.
and I think the story itself, I couldn't get into it. I didn't even find it that exciting. I don't know if it's because there's no main villain to the story. It's just Court of Owls, and that
And
all they seem to
others,
do is
yeah.
just stand around and just do nothing. I don't know what they're doing.
See, I was kind of into the story. I felt like that was one of the like it wasn't like the strong. I guess when you compare it to the rest of the game, I guess it's one of the stronger parts. But it's like it's not one of the strongest Batman stories out there. But I was interested in the whole thing. I wasn't necessarily surprised by some of the things that popped up, but
Oh no,
um, like it was
no,
mostly most of these things were telegraphed pretty early on in terms of certain characters were kind of kicking about the scene. Naturally, they're going to surface kind of towards the end of the game. But anyway, again, without specifically naming those people or spoiling it in that sense, yeah, it just
it was
I think
John Farnham,
yeah, he's
the
the voice,
voice.
the voice. Um, I guess the thing that was more interesting for me was actually the stories of the four heroes themselves because they've kind of got their own individual little things that you can kind of explore a little bit.
Yes,
And I was primarily playing as Batgirl and kind of saw that whole thing play out. But like what you're kind of learning there is obviously how she's kind of coping with the death of Batman, but also the fact that
her
Commissioner Gordon, her
dad.
dad, is already dead, and so she's kind of I mean, we hear there's different points where we hear a report that maybe whether it was legit audio or legit whatever was up for question at the time, but that he actually kind of thought of Batgirl as just being like this cheap, shitty $2 store kind of knockoff, and she heard that and didn't take that overly well. She was, but there was enough doubt as to whether that was real or not. She's constantly like there's this big statue of Commissioner Gordon in the city that she constantly sees. She's trying like, yeah,
No, it's just I'll just say one word: chin,
chin.
chin,
Oh yeah, yeah, right.
because that's pretty much the whole story of that. It's just Barbara trying to figure out what her dad's chin looked like.
Yeah,
And
that
other
was a big
things as
win.
well, but the whole chin thing comes up a lot.
Yeah,
And Robin's there trying to help, like he's tried to, and Barbara just says, "Go away,
yeah,
get
pretty
out of
much.
here, Robin, or Tim, whatever
Oh,
your name is."
speaking of Robin, that voice is madding. That's a kind of shit Robin. I
Yeah,
didn't like the voice of Robin. Everyone else was done pretty well. The voice of Robin was a little bit too, I don't know, prepubescent, I guess.
yeah, it was a bit childish
Yeah.
for someone to go around at night beating up people. He's probably sounds like he should be in school,
Yeah.
not fighting
Yeah,
crime at
should
night.
should be a kid I'm teaching. So anyway,
Maybe he is.
maybe he is. Oh,
You never know.
never know. And now I'm going to look at all my students in a different way. Like, could you kick my ass out of nowhere? Are you a superhero by night?
Do
Well,
you
there
take out thugs?
Yeah. Did you take part in one of the most disappointing video games of the year? And
Ooh.
it's only disappointing really because of the heights of the Arkham games. I think that's the main thing. Like as a game, it's solid enough. My review on the Player Two website, I gave it a B plus. Sorry, B minus. So like it's fine. It's thereabouts. It's okay. But it's just
I think
so
when
many missed
people say,
opportunities.
yeah, when people say like, "Oh, stop comparing it to the Arkham games," it's kind of hard not to compare it to the Arkham
Yeah.
games because I'm not entirely sure if it's the games sort of part or go after the Arkham Knight, I don't know. I can't make sense of it
Yeah.
because because when it says like after the Arkham games or yeah that, and I started scratching my head going, hang on, but Barbara can't walk in the Arkham games because she got shot by Joker.
Yeah,
But then if you read her details in the bio, it actually tells you that she went into some, I don't know, experiment thing where she was able to walk again. And I thought, why didn't you just say that in the game? That would have made far
you
more
would have
sense than
contextualized
just
things a lot more. Yeah.
reading it. Because I was looking at it going, how do you walk in? I need to know these things.
Well, there's a
Just
lot about
like-
the game that's like, if only you did this and if only you did that in terms of story stuff. Because and it does feel like there was different teams working on different aspects of the story that then they just kind of stick it all together and you'd get suddenly this whingy whine, exactly kind of as you say, even on the gameplay side, this whingy whiny kind of pathetic little Robin Tim, who then has other moments where he's meant to be a leader, and they all kind of like sometimes they will happen back to back, and so it just doesn't feel right, let alone the combat as well. But I can understand maybe a disconnect there, the old ludo narrative dissonance thing that used to get discussed that was big 10 years ago. But yeah, in terms of the storytelling, like he just does like a hard pivot out of nowhere. It doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense to me. I don't really get that. So, probably about all we can kind of really say on the story side. We still don't want to spoil it for people, but on the gameplay side, the moment to moment action. What'd you make of that?
Action.
Yeah.
Well, I found the combat okay. It just depends on what you got to fight against, because the higher your levels go up, the more tougher the enemies get. Because you go like level 1 or 2. Like when we did the co-op thing, you were like level 3. I was level 21, and all I was doing was punching people 3 times, and they were out. And you were there, sort of just throwing a whole heap of punches at someone and taking your time. While you took out one person, I was there taking out about 10 people.
Yeah,
with these though, because
tomorrow,
it's just the whole matchmaking side of things is just whoever the lowest level is, you go with that.
Well, yeah, it pulled your level. No, I think it's actually
Oh, because it might have been your game too.
Yeah,
that might have been the other thing too.
You come down to the host sort of level, but I think you still bring the scale stuff from your gear, which is
I was
why.
gonna say, imagine if you came into my game, you would have been in trouble. Or we would never know.
I would get scaled up to you, but
really,
but my gear would be kind of shit. So.
Oh, there you go.
Which I guess is a whole other aspect of the thing. But yeah, on the gameplay combat side, you're right. Like it's okay. Like there's elements of it that feel like Arkham, but it just doesn't. Like the level design doesn't allow for some of the stuff that you could do as Batman from kind of like you could engage a group of enemies and then make yourself scarce and like hide in a corner or get up onto the roof and they'd be scouring all over the place and lose you and eventually give up or they'd be terrified. Whereas there's not very many opportunities to actually get back into kind of the darkness and hide again.
Yeah, because there's not really much around. Plus, because you're not Batman. With Batman, you could just like, you can use, there is smoke bombs, but
yeah,
I don't know how they work. I want to disappear and just go up here and you just go up there and they keep shooting at you. I thought, isn't that when the smoke bombs are meant to come in? I don't understand.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. There's a few things like that don't work overly well. But I guess on that loot side, how useless is that shit? I did not enjoy kind of the loot and the gear and the grind you'd have to go through in that particular sense. It wasn't hard to get what you needed, to be fair. Like all those resources, those crafting resources come by the thousands, and so you're never really hard up to make something, but that just kind of proves that it was completely redundant.
I think, but it's also the fact that the whole crafting thing as well, because I just didn't understand the crafting, because you just go, oh, I've got something to craft here. I don't know why you've crafted. It's just, there's something there to craft. I thought, okay, great. But why do I want to craft it for? I've already got this thing that I can craft. That's better.
The only time I was ever like conscious of what I was making was when I was going for anything that had like an elemental resistance, a specific one that related to kind of the Court of Owls, the Talons, because they kind of have that poison. No, because they've kind of got that poison sort of element one. So I made sure that I had something that was resistant.
The suit,
to that.
Yes.
But otherwise, it didn't really matter. It was just like go for the biggest number, and
or just wait like 5 levels there. Just go for that.
Well, that too.
3 extra damage, I'll get that one. Where you just go, oh my god, that one has 15 more damage. I
Yeah.
might as well get that.
Make the big jump. I mean, you can though, because again, the components aren't hard to come by for the most part. But
For the suit side thing, I was just looking at it going, oh, that looks cool. I wasn't looking at like what the health was or the defense. I was like,
what looks
that's a cool looking outfit. Even though it probably doesn't help me at all, I'm gonna make it.
Well, yeah. I mean, at least you could have like, to their credit, they had like a transmog thing in there. So if you did get something that you like, if you were chasing the biggest numbers, you could then just change your gear's visuals to look like whatever suit you wanted. So that was kind of cool. I always kept reverting back to the same suit, despite the fact that I was getting new gear and improving stats and all those sort of things. But I'd always pivot back to the same aesthetic look. So that was good that they had that in there straight out the gate. But yeah, I just felt like that whole section was kind of unnecessary. Was there anything else about the combat that you either did or didn't like? Or sorry, the gameplay, I should say, that you did or didn't like?
Well, yes. It was more when you came into contact with whatever faction you came with, whether it was regulators, freaks, whatever.
The Court of Owls. Yeah.
Court of Owls. Because they all have like elemental damage, some weakness. What I found out is you can't pause the game if you're in sort of your menu. So if you need to change over to something, if it's fire or whatever it is, you have to try and hide first. Because I didn't realize that till I was like, I better change over. And all I hear is these punching noises in the back. I was like,
and you switch back over.
I thought, what the hell? Look, what the hell's that? And then I feel, well, yeah. And then that's the thing. Like, I thought, oh well, I'm not playing with anyone, so I don't see what the point is of having that not pause. But when you go into the menu thing, it pauses, which makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, there's weird things that have cropped up that were like clear this was a deliberate live service game at one point. Like it was meant to be a Destiny style thing.
It was, but then when we did our co-op thing together, we'll kind of figure it out. Like the gameplay is co-op. Like you look at it, play it, you go, yeah, this is definitely a co-op thing. The cutscenes, however, seem to be single player because, as we found out, because we're in your game, you open the door. I don't exist, as you'll see when you watch the video.
Yeah, please, people, check out the Player 2 plays from one particular
what I do,
to another.
Like Paul's talking to someone, and all I'm doing is shooting, and all you see is my bullets come out the gun, but you don't see me. You just see the bullets and nothing else. So I don't understand that, because you can't say, oh, it's too much effort, because let's see, Mass Effect did it, and they had 9 different characters you could choose from, like your sidekicks. So I don't see that as a reason at all, saying it's too much effort. Like, I'd be more than happy if I was just standing there next to Batgirl, that's who you were playing.
Yeah, that's who I was playing.
And just stand there and not say a word, because at least my presence is there, not just, oh, sorry, Paul gets rewarded for opening the door, and I just get kicked off as I don't exist.
Yeah, apparently, like, if you were to try and do that, the game would actually force you to kind of ask permission of me. Like, you couldn't actually just go off and do any of these, like, start any of these things. I would have to essentially.
I tried to open the door once, and I couldn't even do it. Then you came in, just walked in, opened the door. I was like,
off we went.
That's so stupid.
There's all sorts of weird gates. Actually, it's a good point. Like, sometimes it feels like it's a live service, and then other times it feels like it was always meant to be single player, and then they all just kind of collide together in weird ways that rarely work. Which, I guess, speaking of things that rarely work, the game's performance is pretty choppy on console, despite the fact that they brought it down to 30 frames. But well, not choppy. Choppy's a bit much, but like, it doesn't run at a solid 30. It does.
Mine did. Mine didn't.
I had some.
The only time my sort of frame rate dropped is when I did fast travel. That was it. That was the only time it ever dropped on me.
I never noticed in fast travel. I had weird things around the menus. For me, it was
something. No, I never had that. No.
Which was really, really odd, because that's like
that's more
the last
odd
place you should think about that happening. But
no.
But of course, there is the whole controversy about the 30 frames in the first place. Yeah.
I don't care about the whole 30 to 60 frames, because the one thing I don't pay attention to in games is frame rate. I just care about if the game runs, because I've got like screens, like I've got a TV that's 10 years old, so 60 frames a second is probably not going to work on it. It means nothing to me. On this screen, yeah, sure, I might pay attention to it, but I really don't, because the old TV I got, its brightness isn't the greatest, so I can't really see anything.
Yeah.
It's like that Game of Thrones episode. Where this one, I can change the
Every
brightness.
day
It'll
of the
be
year.
double the brightness, so I can actually see. So I don't care about the frame rate. I'm just more happy that I can see bright colors on my screen. Except for Gotham Knights because it's a nighttime, so there are no bright colors. But so I know people get angry, like, oh, it's 2022, we should have 60 frames a second. I thought, imagine if you were in 1999, you'd be over the moon with 25 frames a second.
Oh.
Or even like GoldenEye used to run at 3 frames a second if you threw like 20 landmines on a wall and then blew it up.
I mean, that was always funny, but
Well, it's funny because the frame rate used to drop like hell. Like, it was ridiculous.
I mean, there were actually some games back then that did run at 60. It was weird, but anyway, yeah.
What?
Yeah, I've heard a bit
Crazy.
of reporting about that recently, as a lot of people have been talking this whole 30 frames per second thing. Yeah, look, I'm not the biggest frame rate guy. I've kind of learned a lot about it in the last few years as I've kind of got a TV that's up to snuff that does the job. It doesn't do the 120 and those sort of things that people talk about. I don't have HDR and all those sorts of fancy sort of visual things, but 60 frames I've been able to run, and I've kind of learnt to appreciate that in recent years. But like switching back to 30 didn't bother me because still the majority of the games that I've played over the years have been at 30 frames, so that was still kind of familiar and didn't bother me too much. But certainly when it fell below 30 points, that was weird.
Like all those people comparing like Xbox, PC, PlayStation. Xbox sucks because it drops 1 frame a second. Like, what? You notice that 1 frame drop from 60 to 59? I mean, give me a break.
Yeah, no, people don't notice it. They need the stats to try and justify it.
They need a little. They need a little line that just goes straight, and drop a little bit. Like I think, oh god, like, is this what we've come to? It's just, oh no, the visuals looks terrible, but it runs at 60 frames a second. I think you can't. I would care what the game looks like, not what if it runs at 59 frames a second or not.
I mean, I don't care if it's kind of closer to, like, I'm definitely more in the performance camp now because the visual bar has gotten so high regardless. So I'm pretty happy for a smoother, more buttery sort of experience. But yeah, it doesn't bother me too much when I have to slide back to 30, so I can kind of throw that out. But I guess on the visuals, outside of the cutscenes, the game doesn't look very good. In fact, I would argue it looks worse than Arkham Knight, which was a 2015 video.
Oh, it is. Because I thought I'll just go back and play Arkham Knight for like an hour, and I had more fun with that in an hour than I did of the 32 hours I've played of Gotham Knights. I'll admit that the opening cutscene wasn't as good as it was in Gotham Knights, but when you first get to Batman, you jump off a tower and you can glide straight off. You can glide. Yeah. It's the greatest thing ever. I was like, oh wow, this is great.
Yeah, let's get to these knighthood quests and the shit you gotta go through there.
Yeah, but it's also too that I don't think they learnt their lesson from Arkham Origins of big open world with, to be honest, not a lot in it except repetitive crime activity that really doesn't really do anything for you except crafting goods and experience or XP until you get to level 30. Then it doesn't matter anymore because it caps off at 30.
Yeah.
And then your enemies at level 31, which makes it even more silly because they don't get to get capped at 30. They can get to be 31, which makes no sense.
Yeah.
What?
Wait, so the cap's 30. I never got to 30.
I got to 30, and I couldn't even upgrade all my abilities because you have to do all those stupid side tasks of collecting batarangs and trying to find landmarks of a plaque that's about this big, and you got to try and scan, and the scanning itself is just...
It's where trophy guides come in. Don't do that work yourself.
I mean, the same thing with the co-op, where you're trying to find those small little things like the...
Oh, yeah, some of that design's ridiculous.
It's designed, and you're there trying to figure out until I pointed out to you, like, and you can just hear it in your voice. You just hear it in your voice. Just go, really? That's it?
Yeah.
It's just, that's where you try to find this massive building. You're trying to find a small plaque. It's like what played Spider-Man and thought, let's do that, but make it worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, because at least with Spider-Man, all you have to do is just take a picture of it, and you're done. And also, there's a little.
And they were pretty generous about it. Too,
generous, but also too, there's like, I don't know if it's an ability. I don't know if it's in your skill tree or not, where you have the ability on your map to find where those landmarks are. Yeah. I think I can't remember, but I'm not going to try and find 40 landmarks. I found another collectible thing by accident. I found them all. Well, it wasn't I just found it was like, oh, there's one, there's another one, but there's a lot of batarangs to collect, which I can't be bothered collecting. It's just
I think
stupid.
60 all up, if I recall.
What was that?
I think there's about 60 of them all up, if I recall.
Oh man, I know there's 40 landmarks, 12 paintings, and 60 batarangs. Yeah. I don't know why Batman's throwing around batarangs. That's just, I don't understand. Makes no sense.
Then again, I don't know why Spider-Man backpacks are kind of floating around the city. So I guess.
And then you got audio recordings as well, which is just, it's boring. I just can't really say anything excited about. It's just, it's just. I feel like I'm in 2010.
Yeah, there's just a lot that's a bit half-assed. Yeah, from that sort of stuff to going back to the combat, where it's just kind of like a step back from from Arkham in a lot of ways. Yeah, there's just nothing that's. It's only ever halfway. Only ever halfway there.
They were riding bikes just to see what the cars were doing. All you do is just
slide off them.
Bounce off them like a bumper ball in bowling. That's what it felt like.
That said, not all the time, because I actually was like sitting on after we played, I was then sitting on the couch in the house playing, and went to go show my wife, and like, look at this, look at how I'm going to do this, and I just crashed straight into the back of the car. Like I tried to rear end it, and I succeeded.
You got to drive. You got to drive into it from the front. So you got to go the Australian side of the road, which is the correct way to drive on the road, not the other side.
Yeah, no,
and you do it that way. But even pedestrians the pedestrians I understand, because you're not supposed to kill people. So I do get that part. But it's just the whole car thing is just, I don't get it.
It's a far cry from the last game where we had, the Batmobile, and you literally just crushed shit under you as you went through.
So. Yeah, and you just called in your Batmobile just to clear out enemies just with ease.
Yeah. Good
but
times.
No,
it makes us appreciate the Batman, the Batmobile a little bit more. In retrospect,
it does. Everyone used to hate the Batmobile. It's like, oh, it's stupid, it's pointless. I thought it's not. It's cool. You can just use it as a weapon. Like that's what people were doing. They just thought, oh, you have to drive. Like I never drove it. I just use it as a weapon if I just got
called in when you need it.
It's like if I got overwhelmed by enemies, like I was calling the Batmobile for assistance, and voila.
Yeah, no,
clear out enemies with ease.
That's exactly how I played it as well. It was only the puzzles that kind of sucked with that.
They were rubbish, but
so. Whatever.
Yeah, I can understand that.
And
it was just also cool if you just fly on a massive tower and you're dipping down and you just press your little Batmobile button and it just
lands straight in the Batmobile.
And the car just skids around the corner like Tokyo Drift and you just land in it. It's the greatest.
It's a good feeling.
Bit of camera work I've seen.
I think I'm going to go back and play Arkham Knight when the time. Maybe all the Arkham games actually at this point, including Origins, which is better. Than Gotham Knights.
Story-wise, too, is better.
Oh, the story's amazing in Gotham. Sorry,
and the other problem is, too, with Gotham Knights, is the lack of villains. I don't know because Batman's disappeared, you would think, oh, all the villains will just come out guns blazing and just nothing happened.
But no, like, it's the League of Assassins where you see with Ra's al Ghul, you see the Court of Owls, you see... and then kind of side story stuff, which is Harley Quinn...
Freeze and
Clayface, yeah.
That's it. Nothing else.
Yeah, they could have kind of kitchen sinked it, but I guess like maybe the idea being like if there's a sequel, we've still got the scope to do more of this stuff. Something tells me there won't be a sequel now, so
good luck with that.
I don't know.
That's what happens when you get Rocksteady. Well, actually, I don't think Rocksteady wanted to do another Batman game. I think pretty sure they said
they were done
Arkham Knight. That's it, and fair enough, and fair enough too. Why would you want to just keep making more games? You made 3 good games, just leave it at that.
Right off into the sunset, yeah. And now, on the eve of Suicide Squad coming out, they've lost their 2 most important people at the studio. But anyway, we'll see. We'll see whether that's a bad sign for that game, which is a live service as well. So, whatever. We'll see what comes of that. Any other Gotham Knights thoughts at all as we start to wind things down?
Well, going by the reviews, if you look at Metacritic, the reviews are like, it's a large, from like the worst review to the best review. One guy said it was as good as Elden Ring, and I think that guy should be sacked.
Surely that wasn't a Metacritic critic review though.
It was.
Sure,
It was.
wasn't a critic review.
No, go look at it. It's like some fool gave it a 98 out of what I think 100. He says like it was up there.
Holy shit.
With,
yeah, I see it.
And I looked at that. I thought that's no, it's not. You should be fine. And then at the bottom tier on the fans one, someone said this is the worst Batman game ever. It doesn't even have Batman in it. Yes, that is correct. It's not a Batman game. So well done to you fool.
Sorry to.
I know he's looking at the Elden Ring thing.
Name and shame an outlet here, but Gamers Heroes, who Gotham Knights is up there with Elden Ring as a Game of the Year contender. It's fast, responsive, and action-packed combat is surpassed only by a narrative that had me glued from the very first.
Hang on, wait. Sorry.
Did Dash write this? A must-play for.
No, I'm pretty sure they're playing Arkham Knight.
For anyone invested with the Gotham Knights or DC Universe. My God.
Are they playing the right game? It sounds like Arkham Knights over Gotham Knights. I'd say, where's all this gameplay and action you're talking about?
Yeah.
Did I miss out on it?
And then on the opposite end of the spectrum, you've got whatever T3 is. Gotham Knights is a lackluster entry into the Batman mythos, and that feels like a major step back from what has come before, and more that they say.
That makes more sense than the Elden Ring one.
Gamers Heroes, get out of here. Anyway. I won't be that person on the
internet. I was just gonna say, is that a parody? Is that a parody site? They just given it's like the Chasers with their was it the Batuta Advocate?
Yeah, Batuta Advocate.
Maybe they're just taking the absolute piss out of it, saying it is Elden Ring, but really it's not. Who knows? I have to have a look at some of their other reviews.
Have to read it, but anyway. Well, on that note, we'll wrap things up there, having just like kicked around another outlet unprompted at the end there. Sorry.
All I can say is good luck, Suicide Squad. You're gonna need it.
If you enjoyed that, then look, the game is actually. I guess as we wrap up, would you recommend the game in any way at all?
Not at full price. No.
Yeah.
I know that's the harsh thing to say. It's not worth what does it say? $125. $110, whatever. I say it's not really worth. I know that's really harsh to say, but it's not really. As someone said,
in terms of Aussie dollars, wait till it's like 60.
Yeah, I say it's not really worth it. I feel like if I saw the reviews, it is now, I probably wouldn't touch it.
Yeah, and that's fair. And we're obviously in a very luxurious position, so thank you very much to Play On Australia for providing those codes for us.
Well, that's the last time I'll get a code from Play On Australia.
Well, Doug's going to love you because it's just more opportunities to do more stuff with Devolver. Like, okay, great, they've kicked you off the list.
I love Devolver games.
And I believe I should also be saying thank you to Play On for something else that's arriving. I believe it might even be Gotham Knights related this week. So, sorry that I've hung it on your game that slash.
Let's be honest. I hung it on them more than probably what you did. So no Gotham Knights stuff
more
for me.
Positive, but yeah. But even then, there's still lots and lots of flaws.
They should actually go to that Gamer Hero guy and just give them all the good Gotham Knights stuff.
Have everything and just like empty a truck into.
Take it all.
Yeah. All right, we'll wrap things up there. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. All the buttons down below. Hit the notification bell. That way you're alerted to every new episode the moment it goes live on the channel. That includes Patched, Player 2 Plays, Gamer School, more review discussions, a whole bunch of other awesome stuff that you can only find on the YouTube channel. So please subscribe and go and check that one out. Visit the website, player2.net.au, for reviews, previews, opinion pieces, news, features, links to the podcast series, Patch, the Player 2 Pixelcast, and Dev Diary. The Player 2 review, my review of Gotham Knights, is there, as well as on the Dev Diary side, Osama Dorius, who, while he wasn't at the team when the game launched, did work on Gotham Knights along the way. I interviewed him at PAX Australia, so go and check that one out. It's a recent episode and new episode to come. There's Patreon, patreon.com/player2au, kick it a few bucks, lower tiers early access, high tiers monthly episode exclusives, and finally Twitter, Matto.
Matto_Phil.
Paul James Games for myself. The website is player2au. Thank you again to Play On for providing the codes. Batman is dead. You're going to take a shot at him.
Oh,
your head's in the way, so
I just lost
one
the
can actually see
highlighter
past your head. But Batman is dead. Gotham Knights probably will be soon. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you next time around.